All right, hey everyone, it's Friday and it's another edition of the Q&A with Alan and Marshall. I'm Marshall Atkinson with Atkinson Consulting,
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way Systems.
and welcome to our show. And as you can tell, Alan, you're not in Michigan, are you?
I am not. I am at the lovely Hampton Inn in New Philadelphia, Ohio, which is about 20 miles south of Canton. So, yeah, I had some customers to see and some stuff. So, and it's nice. I actually lived in New Philadelphia for a good part of my career, over 20 years. So, had dinner with a friend and breakfast this morning with another friend. And yeah, it's always nice.
Yeah, and so you're traveling. So for everyone that's kind of worried about the COVID stuff, right? What are you seeing? Are you seeing people that are comfortable with that? I mean, you're in a hotel right now. Are they doing what they need to be doing? I think everybody's really worried about that. Because they pay attention to the news or Facebook or whatever. What do you see? Because you're the man on the ground, man.
So here's what I see in hotels. Every city's different, but in almost every city, you have to be masked coming in. You walk in, you better have a mask on, and all the way into your room. And that's fine. That's part of it. We got to be good citizens, good human beings on there. So we have to have a mask. The hotels, I stay in Hamptons, Marriott's, and Holiday Expresses. They have been great on cleanliness, keeping it clean. Hampton Inns do a thing. It's almost like they put a seal on a door. And if that seal's broken, somebody's in there after it's been cleaned. There is no like everyday clean service at the hotels. So they're not coming in every day, making your bed and stuff like that. If you need extra towel stuff, call. They'll leave them by your door. And I'm fine with that, in this. But they're doing a great job. The breakfasts are different. Usually you go up and just get your own. Now they have someone serving it, putting it on a plate and sliding it to you, or it's just grab and go. And I'm with that also.
Right.
So they have done great. While the hotels and stuff have, I still can't stress that we still have to do our part. We have to take personal responsibility. I don't care whether you like the mask, whether you think it's politically incorrect, irrelevant.
Well, to me, mask shows empathy for other people.
Well, and that's it. Marshall, and if people don't know, Marshall and I talk politics offline, and we have very different opinions on some things, but it still comes down to, are you a good human being? And you know what? Traveling is part of what I do. It's how I make my livelihood. And if I have a stupid mask for my livelihood, that's not the worst thing in the world. But we still need to do the responsible thing. I think the hotels are doing a great job. I think restaurants have done a great job.
And you bring wipes and you wipe stuff down yourself? Just to make sure?
I have hand sanitizer with me all the time. I have some wipes, like right here, and I like it because they give you this little goodie bag, and these little hand wipes are all over the place in the hotels too. So, I am not to that point, Marshall, where I should be carrying Clorox wipes. I do have a thing in my car of them that I wipe down steering wheel and stuff, but I did that anyways.
Yeah.
Almost get gunky. But I have like a huge bottle of sanitizer in the door next to me, so I'm forever grabbing. I have little bottles too, and so yeah,
good.
But here in the hotel room, there's soap, there's water, so I just wash my hands.
Okay. Well, hey, let's say hello to some folks. Greg Kitsen's here, so good morning. Yost is here from Sweden. Thanks for joining us.
Right.
John's here. Hey, Marshall and Alan. Charles says good morning, and Keith says good morning. And so if you haven't said good morning or hello or whatever, that's totally okay. But we would love to know who's here and watching. So please say hello. And remember that this is a Q&A show, and we need you to say your question. If somebody asks a question, if you've got an answer, please chime in. We want to hear from you. The more engagement and participation that we have, the better. And that really makes this show work. And I'm going to put my phone on silent because I forgot to do that. So,
yeah, probably.
I'll always start getting calls and text messages like crazy usually.
And Marshall, I think, back to what we were talking about on traveling, I think it comes down to personal preference and responsibility. If you don't feel comfortable traveling, then don't.
Yeah, right.
If you don't feel comfortable going to a restaurant, then don't. When I'm at home, I don't go out a whole lot. I mean, I travel for work and stuff. Do I go to the grocery store? No, I order stuff online. They come, they put it in my car.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because, I can do that and I don't have to go in to grocery store. It's fine. So yeah, you don't say this person's doing great because he's traveling, or why are they doing that? No, it comes down to personal responsibility. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't do it then.
Right. I just noticed I had my forward progress branding up for this, not the Q&A. So
subliminal message, and I didn't even notice either.
Yeah, it's funny. We've only been on this call for about an hour already.
So new to it. Yeah.
All right. And some other folks have joined us. Mike's here. Good morning. Keith is here. Good morning. Richard's here also. Good morning. And then Greg says, let's talk shipper backlog. Mind's Eye Graphics has apparel orders 4 days late from usual next day ship suppliers. It's the biggest problem we're facing right now. Everybody's complaining about it. Either the apparel distributors are slow to get stuff out, or they have been throttled by UPS or FedEx or whatever by getting the stuff out, because they're only going to get so many trucks a day. And if you're not on the truck, sorry. And that's what's happening. It's affecting everything. And I think I talked about this with my coaching clients at least 4 times yesterday, and everybody's pulling their hair out. And folks like Greg, you don't have much hair left to pull out anyway. So it's like, it's a big challenge, I think. I think the thing to do is to really just let everyone know where you are, what's going on, communicate. I know it's the holiday and everybody's trying to get stuff out, but we can't print shirts unless they're here. We can't embroider stuff unless it's here. And this is what's going on. And I don't think there's anything we can do about it. If it's out of your control, right, there's only so much you can do. And I know it's going to sound weird, but some things that are out of your control, you just got to let it go. You can only do so much, and don't let that become an ulcer.
Yeah. Right? I think too, and it's not just apparel too. In manufacturing, we have to remember this is a global deal. So even people globally, they're not producing as much. There's not as many employees. Mm-hmm. They're on raw materials. We are seeing it in white ink, also from people. The manufacturers doing everything they can, but there's a slowdown on them getting materials, and that's a slowdown on them making materials. Yeah. Then you shipping, so it's everything.
I totally agree, and it's going to be, it's going to be consumables. It could be machine parts. It could be all types of stuff, because there's a domino to all this that gets affected.
Well, and I went into it with a distributor, put in an order, and usually it's there in 2 days. And I thought, man, they have it. And I ran the tracking number, and the tracking number's coming up nothing. I called the office, and they find out that the freight company switched carriers in the middle of it and didn't tell us. So now it's delayed, and it gets there before. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
So it's everything. So yes, I think you have to let all your people know that, and Greg just posted it, it's not, that a confirmation does not, right there, that confirmation acknowledgement is not confirmation of shipping. When it ships, and it's always been, once it's on the truck, trucking companies have always done whatever they want.
Yeah. Well, you have to constantly look at the tracking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you seen it's on the truck, but that doesn't mean it's going to be delivered, right? And I've, before COVID, right, I've had issues where it's on the truck and then it gets delivered to somewhere else. I mean, it doesn't even show up, right? Just because it's on the truck doesn't mean it's going to get here, right? But usually it is, but we just really have to do a better job of really kind of understanding things. And I think this is where transparency, communication, how you're handling things calmly, you're letting your customer know. One of the things I talked with one of my coaching clients the other day about this exact problem was there's several scenarios, and you have to let your customer know about it. So let's just say there was a 200-piece order, and you've got 175 of the pieces, right? And the due date's coming up. you have to let your customer know, hey, I got 175, right? Here are your options. Help us out. We can print what we have and just call it a day, and the other 25 pieces we'll never do. Is that okay? That's option A. Option B is we'll wait till we get everything. So we're supposed to do 200 pieces. The stuff's supposed to be here Thursday. If it comes in Thursday, our production date's going to be Monday or Tuesday of the following week, or whatever it is, right? Is that okay with you? Yes. Okay. Option C is what we're going to do is we're going to produce it into 2 orders, 175 now, the 25 when they come in, but we're going to have to charge you more because we're setting it up twice. Is that okay?
Yep.
Let us know what you want.
Yep.
And then they pick from those selections, and then you move about your business, right?
Yep.
And so you have to give them the options, right? And move things forward. And it's kind of like, what's the crappiest thing that's the best choice sometimes? It isn't cut and dry because we're only at the mercy of how things come into us.
Absolutely. Right? So you can't do this the day of, by the way, it was due an hour ago. You need to do this 4 or 5 days as soon as you know.
Oh, yeah. The sooner you're having this conversation, the better. So this means you need to be looking in your system. And I also would throw this out there. This is not your production department's responsibility.
Right.
This is sales. This is customer service. This is people who are really good at talking with customers about this stuff, being proactive about what are we doing for that job tomorrow or the following day or whatever. Really just getting on the horn with people and letting them know what's up. This could be an email you're sending. This could be a phone call you're making, but you need to be proactive about this to solve stuff. So,
and you know what? The opportunity here is that this is a great way to start building communication relationship with your community of leadership and not just you're an order service.
Right. So some comments here. William says, hey, y'all.
Hey, William.
Charles says, ugh, shipping and supply is killing your industry.
It's not just our industry, so it's not killing us.
Yeah. Keith says it's a nightmare. Just tell them it is unrealistic right now.
Yep.
Sam says, afternoon fellas, go Browns.
And no one cares about the Browns, but okay.
Sean says, set expectations up front. And he shared this huge thing.
Yep.
This is the first line on our invoices right now. Due to the pandemic, aspects out of our control, like stock levels and shipping, are affecting our ability to produce at our normal schedule. We're unable to guarantee an in-hands date, but we will work to fill the order on or before the in-hands date shown. Asterisk, available stock is also questionable and replacements may be needed of other brands. This may cause a price change. Sean, that is so excellent. I can't even begin to tell you. That's just great. Good job, buddy.
And I think you do that plus a verbal with your client, because once they have it on the invoice, you know, the order's almost done, but for in the future, but you do that and, you know, bang that drum more than just one way. And yeah, you're going to be better off.
So if you don't have a statement like this, I want you to take a screenshot of this right now. I'll leave this up for a minute. Because you know you don't need to see the top of my forehead much longer. But Command Shift 3 if you're on a Mac, or I have no idea how to do it on a PC because I don't ever use one. But take a screenshot of this and rewrite yours just like Sean has right here. So I'll leave this up for another 10 seconds or so. But this is really great, and I think using a statement like this, especially with how you're doing things, can really set you apart from other people, because it means that you're taking personal responsibility. It means you're being proactive. It means that you're doing what you need to do. And you're saying, hey, guess what? It's not our fault. This is what's going on. Okay. So good job, Sean.
Yep.
And Lisa agrees. She says, brilliant.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Sean.
So we want to get into the meat of our show. So we've got a couple topics set up, and this is our first one. It's called The World's Worst Boss.
Yep.
Okay. And this comes from a book I'm currently reading called The Practice. Actually, it's a passage in here, and I want to read this. And so bear with me. It's going to take a couple seconds to read this. And then I want to have a discussion about what you guys think about this. Okay. So, the world's worst boss. You might work for the world's worst boss. The boss might be a jerk. The boss might not recognize all the good work that you do. The boss might do a lousy job of lining up better clients to keep you busy, or might not reward you for all the insight and care and passion you bring to the job. In fact, the boss might bother you at home in the middle of the night for no good reason, waking you up so you can worry a little more about your work. And mostly the boss might have the wrong expectation of what you're capable of creating. You've probably guessed who I'm talking about.
Yep.
The world's worst boss might very well be you. And I'm not going to read the rest of this, but that's going to key off our discussion really here about yourself and how you think about yourself and how you label yourself and how you really think about things right now. Because I know I've got an ego just like everybody, and I'm so hard on myself all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't think I do a good job with things, and I don't fit in. And, it just really thinking about things, right? So I want to tee up that discussion first off with Alan, how you think about it. But I would love it if you would leave a comment if you're watching this right now about how you think about yourself and how you set you up for your personal kind of struggle because you don't really consider how you do things. Mm-hmm. And you might feel like you're an imposter, or you might feel like you can do more or whatever, or you're down on yourself, or you get yourself depressed because you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you think about this, Alan?
Well, when we talked about that off air and when you read that, I mean, we both just were nodding going, I knew exactly what you were talking about on there. And I am always my own worst enemy, worse than any boss I've had. I've had great bosses. I've had some horrible situations I've been in, but I am always my worst enemy. And, I think, Marshall, sometimes what people don't realize, and I'll just be open here, the facade you see, which is on here, an article, when I'm at my office, the awards behind me. In my mind, I think too, I am still this 18-year-old, pseudo street kid from Metro Detroit. And how did I slip through the cracks for 33 years in this industry? And one day the veil's going to come off. And, everybody on here is going to go, have you realized Alan Howe never says anything different? It's the same thing he said for the last 10 years. And what does he know? And, that's me. And the truth is, if you read any of the articles that I write, nothing is earth shattering. Everything is extremely basic, fundamental. And I sometimes say the same thing in a different way. I know what I know, and I don't talk about what I don't know.
Right.
I listen, and we'll have discussion on what I don't know to learn. But I think if we're honest, we all feel that way at times. And then there's times, it's the opposite, where I am freaking amazing. And I have to realize, no, I'm not. Especially in sales, one of the bosses I used to have, and he's now a distributor of mine, we still laugh because we would tease each other after a big sale. And it started on a $175,000 order I pulled from a brand new account, never met at a show. And I was jazzing over it. They send the money in, wire it comes in the next day, and I am hyped. And he teases me and looks at me and goes, oh, dude, that was so 3 minutes ago. And that has been our ongoing joke.
Right.
But we're only as good or as bad as our last decision and last attempt.
Sure. Right.
We have to keep going. That's me. There are things I've been into in groups of people I'm in, and I feel inadequate as can be. And I will call out on one thing. I remember I shared this with you, Marshall. I remember that Mr. Clark and Mr. Marc Coudray both got on me one time and just said, You are where you are not because of what you haven't done, because of what you've done, not compared to anybody else, because
Right.
your accomplishments on what you've done for the industry. So stop it. I mean, Mark Coudray actually said, I never want to hear that from you again, Alan. Because stop, on the comparison of everybody else. It is what you have done, and you are where you're at because you deserve to be. And coming from him and Joe Clark, I miss them so much. And it was in a span of a day. They both got on me about
Yeah.
that. And
Well,
remember that.
I think it's easy to compare yourself to somebody, right? Because there's always somebody more successful or, has more accomplished or makes more money or looks like they're doing better or whatever. There's always people like that. And you're just constantly comparing yourself to them. And I think that really leads to this problem where we're always trying to make other people happy, or we're trying to compare to other people, or, I want that brass ring. And it sets us up for a lot of mental anguish and depression and feeling that you're an imposter because you're not just quite good enough. And I'm here to tell you that wherever you are and whatever you've done, you're kicking ass.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing things that you need to do. You're doing well. And your life is really just every experience you had leads to another, and how you affect things, how you do things, what do you do? And it's really learning from them and being open to new experiences and open to new information, and just like you're going to succeed based on where you've been and looking forward to what do I need to do to get there? And I'm telling you, quit worrying about what other people do, what other people think about you, that type of stuff. Just stay true to yourself and make sure that from your center and your soul that you're doing what you want to be doing from your perspective and how you can help and serve others. And if you do it that way, the sky's the limit. So
I also, too, as somebody, when you want to achieve things, good advice I got in my younger years is successful people hang out with people who know more than them. And when you start inserting yourself into circles and not knowing you don't have to speak, but just being around them. And I've always been lucky and actually calculated to meet people in our industry.
Yeah.
So, not everybody can be a Peter Walsh. But you know what? I mean, all kidding along, Peter's there. That's why I saw that and said that.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember meeting Peter, all kidding aside, when he worked for Toss years ago. It was the first time. And, I met Richard Greaves at an early age there. And the fact that these people are still friends of mine and associates and stuff, they have made me better. Because do we agree on everything? No, but I always listen to everything they say going, how can I apply that to me? And
Right.
try to hang out with people know more to me. That's why I follow you around, Marshall.
Yeah. So Sam has a good comment here. Lots of ups and downs with motivation over the last several months.
Oh, yeah.
Sleepless nights, stressful situations. It's been incredibly important to regularly take a step back and remind yourself that there is no price for sanity. That's really great, Sam.
And Sam,
thank you for opening up and sharing that.
Yeah, and you couldn't be more spot on. I was talking to a friend of mine in the finance business in this industry. He goes, "Is it me? He's just been unmotivated." And life is hard to begin with, and this year has made it even harder. And we have to every day get up, grab ourselves by the shirt, and say, "Get going."
Yeah.
Again, him and I were talking about we are our own worst enemies.
Well, let me tell you, professionals do it anyway.
Yeah.
Amateurs, they're the ones that quit early, and professionals are the ones that do it when they don't feel like doing it. Right? And they put in the time and they put it in the effort and they get things done, and that could be training, going to the gym, going for the run, or, writing or painting or making that last phone call today, even though you don't want to. Right. And whatever it is, it's just doing things when you just don't have the mojo, because that's what professionals do. And that's where we need to be with things sometimes. And I called you, what was it last week? I called you, Alan, and I'm like I'm calling you to let you know I don't feel like working. And after that phone call, I worked for another 3 hours, right? So, but I just needed to vent a little bit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to bend somebody's ear,
And that's the other thing. And this is part of having friends and stuff that you can unjudgmentally just call. And, I can call, I can call Marshall. I know I can call Richard. I can call a lot of people industry wise. And whether it's personal, and I have friends like that where I am allowed to call them and I am allowed to vent. I'm allowed to cuss. I'm allowed to cry. I'm allowed to whine. And then when it's over, okay, back to work.
Wait, hold on. You're allowed to cuss? I don't think I've ever heard you cuss. You say son of a biscuit. You don't like
really. I've been with you where I will throw them out there at times. So I shouldn't. I do more. But yeah. So son of a biscuit, stink almighty. But yeah, but there are times where you have to do that. You have to let it out. You have to vent.
Yeah, right.
And my uncle and I, who is a very successful businessman, he said, you're as a man, you're allowed to cry. But then our side joke is you do it the way men do. Go in the bedroom, close the door, put your face in the pillow so no one hears.
Yeah.
But you got to have that because we all go through that. And what makes professionals and in sales, I don't like being on the road all the time. There are days I work from home. I don't have to go out. I can stay in pajama pants and do nothing and watch the good reruns of Gilligan's Island. But you know what? My competition is out there. And if I'm not out there, then I'm my own worst enemy.
Yeah, right.
You have to do it when you feel like it and when you don't.
So we got some good comments. Let's get them up. So Kisa says, you can't imagine the nerves in the morning that I got to meet Marshall for the first time. I still remember trying to back out.
Mine was different. I'm
a normal guy.
I was very underwhelmed. No,
yeah. And Peter says, leaders are so much more valuable to an organization than a boss will ever be. That's great. There are bad bosses who've been promoted into positions of responsibility. There are no bad leaders because leaders need followers, and people will not follow a bad leader. That's exactly right.
Bosses tell you what to do. Leaders will, you want to know if you're a good leader? Who's following you? They're not doing what you tell them, but who's following you?
Exactly. Right. And then Richard says, I think we're plotting most of the time.
We are mostly plotting most of the time.
Yeah.
Especially recently, the three of us. But yeah, that's all right.
So we skipped over this, and then I want to go to the next topic. But Brian says, good day, gents. Just want to warn everyone about huge delays in shipping as a result of the fact that FedEx and UPS have committed huge resources to the distribution of the vaccine, and the fact that we are seeing record online buying during this period. This means that shipping times and delays are going to be much more likely. U.S. Standard Ground is taking 5 to 6 days for us to ship from Southern California to the state of Washington. So,
yeah.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that comment.
I do think there's a lot of things pulling at the shipping and distribution, whether it be vaccine, whether it be holidays, whether it be pandemic, whatever. There just is. And all we can do is what can we do still to communicate with our clients,
right?
Communicate with our business. If you can bring extra stock in, then do it and have a plan for them. Just don't go, this is the deal. I can't do anything about it. Try to have a solution for them.
Always, how can we?
And what about this brand?
Yeah, how can we do it, not why we can't do it. Yeah. What do you need, right? So start thinking about that.
Absolutely.
That's kind of a good segue into our next topic, which is what I've called the why question. And for this, the reason I want to talk about this is right now, I think a lot of people, we're examining what we're doing right now. And the why question is, why are we doing it? Why are we doing it this way? Why are we doing this process? Why is this, company a customer, or why does this person work here? Why are we doing this process this exact way? And I really want to kind of dig into this a little bit because I think this really matters. And if we're thinking about retooling our business for next year, and I think a lot of people are going through the process, looking about their infrastructure, looking about how we're going to be doing things in the coming months to, bring in more business or do things. I think having the why question out there really matters, because I don't think we ask this enough in our businesses and what we're doing. And if we ask why more often, is, why, and like, this is a fantastic thing to do, by the way. Ask your customer, hey, why do you do business with us?
Yeah.
And if you ask that, what answer are you willing, are you ready for whatever they say, and so why do you do business with us? And then if you did that with enough customers, and you might have, if you ask that with 20 people, would you get the same answer, or would you get 20 different answers?
Right.
Right. And let's just say you got 20 people and you got 10 different answers where 10 were the same. Were those 10 answers the same? Does that show up in your marketing? Because it should, because that really shows, here's why people do business with us. And it might be different than what you think. You might think it's all about your pricing, and they're saying it's all about your art team, right? Mm-hmm. Or whatever, right? So think about that. And how would you do that? How would you go about asking that question? Would that be a phone call? Would that be a survey? Would that be an in-person meeting or a Zoom call or something? How would you do that? And internally, asking the why question about your processes is, why do we do things this way? Why do we code our screens this way? Or why do we set our jobs up this way? Or why do we check in our inventory this way? Or why do we, steam our embroidery after we do it, or whatever the thing is. Like, the answer is why. Start asking that more in your business and uncover those uncomfortable truths that you don't really want to face. This is going to allow you to change things to get better, right? And what do you think about that, Alan? What about asking why?
I think when we ask why, we always have to be looking at why we do it, because when you ask why, you're either going to find out, one, what you're doing well, and it might not be why you think it is, as you said, but right. It's going to also tell you what you're not doing well, and maybe you're majoring on one thing, and it's really not about that.
Right.
Most people think it's about price, and it's never about that, usually.
It's never about price.
Yeah. And if it's about price, cut them loose. Because
let me tell you, there's always some idiot that'll do it cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so it's not about price. And if everything is about price, you're a commodity. You need to run.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Get those commodity customers off your plate and find people that are better in alignment with what you do and the awesomeness that you can bring every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I was with a client, and they were telling me about one of their owners is in Vistage, part of a tech group. It's a large CEO organization. And there's a lot of bigger clients there. And he said, I've started, I'm in there not to get clients, but these guys are going, wow, we're really looking at what you're doing for promotional apparel and stuff. He said, your service is incredible. He goes, we want to move it to there. And he actually told him, he goes, because of the service you provide, you are way too cheap. Way too cheap.
Yeah. Right. There's believe it or not, there are people who will pay more for what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I look, I still hear people going, what about custom ink? What about all these things? Well, custom ink is expensive. And, their printing is okay, especially if they do it in-house. If you can't compete with them, why do people do that? One, it's easy, it's no humans, and it's, I don't know, you just go in, you order your stuff, done. Why don't you have that in your business? Yep. If it is a struggle, if they can't find you, if they can't get answers, and if they can't order easily, you're toast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And you can look at other industries, and look at how they do their work, mm-hmm. and can look at their pricing structure and look at, like, one of my favorite examples is Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, how many billions of dollars do you think they rake in a year? Oh. Right. And then look at their pricing and look at their service level and look at how well they do stuff. And
6 days. Only 6 days.
I'm sorry, what?
On only 6 days. They're
Only 6 days, exactly. And then think about their processes. Like, why do you think they say "my pleasure" after you say "thank you"?
Absolutely.
So that is a standard operating procedure for them, right?
Well,
Have you ever gone through a Chick-fil-A drive-through at lunch?
unreal.
It's backed up. It's 2 lanes and backed up around the corner, and you're in that line and out in under 10 minutes.
Absolutely. It is quick as can be.
Okay, well, how do they think they do that?
You know why you say "my pleasure"? It's the same reason you get through the line on there, because it's about the customer.
Okay, well, they built it.
Yeah.
They did it. They understand that it doesn't. You don't have to have, and compare to going through a Wendy's or a Popeyes or
Right.
whatever, right? And it's just like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, right? They on purpose built something better. So this is really about understanding the why behind that, right? You can do things better, right? And you just have to decide, what do we need to change to make things better? That's where the why question comes in here. And so are you willing to do that? And like yesterday, the day before, I posted in Shirt Lab Tribe that I ordered something from Amazon and I got it delivered in 127 minutes after I ordered it.
Yep.
And that sparked a big, long chain of, whole bunch of stuff. And what I wanted to really illustrate that is the fact that they built that. That's an on-purpose thing. Now, granted, I live in Mesa, Arizona, which is just outside of Phoenix. There's a gigantic distributor here for Amazon, and they do the thing and whatever. And but the point is the fact that people are doing it at this level, right? And so if you were to streamline your business and you were to figure this stuff out and you were to make some on-purpose business decisions to do things faster and better, would people line up for you, right? And I think they probably would, right? So what would you need to do to compete? And maybe not in 127 minutes, but what if you could deliver decorated apparel the next day? What would you need to change? And I think you start asking lots of these questions, and I think it's a very interesting way to kind of look at stuff, right? So,
yeah, the question is always why. Well, here are my numbers. Here's what we do. Why? Why are you doing that much? Can you do more? Should you do more?
Right.
Here, this is what we do, how we reclaim screens. Okay, why? Is that the best way, the best process on there? Is it time to upload? You need to look at that. Why do I run my sales area the way I do? Are there better ways? I have to ask that.
Yeah.
Major on this distributor where they're really not into it, and I need to give better service to that distributor in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Always have to ask why. Just because, numbers are good. No, ask why. Are they good because of you or in spite of you?
Well, why are they good? And is this the best level we can achieve?
Yep.
Right. And so, hey, we got some good comments. Let's get to a couple. Cal's here, says good morning.
Morning.
Cindy's here. Hello, y'all. Sewing and listening. Thank you for listening, Cindy.
That's embroidery and not darning socks.
Peter says, good morning, Cal. Hope he's well. Cal says, my biggest why is the benefits of investing into DTG, brother GTX, because I am tired of turning away short-run customers.
And there's the why right there.
All right.
How do you have the market? DTG, whether it's brother GTX, Epson, whatever, is a very powerful print application if you have the market.
Yeah, or any DTG manufacturer, and I'm sure Peter would love to talk about his. Right?
Oh, exactly.
But it's like, what are you doing with that? How are you doing it? What are the costs? How many of your smaller orders that you would typically print on a manual press can you run those on DTG? It can just be one word in white, right? Yeah. On 6 shirts. And then you could have those printed before you could burn the screens.
And,
right?
the profitability. Some people get DTG and they do not charge for the service. Well, I can't charge $20 a shirt for one color. Sure you can, because on 5, you can't get it anywhere else for less.
So if people think about not charging enough for DTG, I don't know if how many people that are actually on here right now went to the ThreadX that was in Palm Springs. There was a guy there. His name is Tim Williams. Actually, I've done a couple things for him. After that, I introduced myself right after his presentation at the break there, and he was doing DTG with a brother. Right. And he was getting $150 for the print.
Yep, absolutely.
Because he made it all about the experience and not about how much do I charge for the ink on the shirt.
Right.
It's about the user experience. And that's where it really fits in here. And so as printers, I think a lot of times we say, hey, this is what it costs. I'm going to market it up 30%, rather than saying, how much would somebody pay for that experience?
Yep.
Right? And knowing that it doesn't have to be this group of customers. I'm going after this group of customers, and they want this experience. And that's what it's about. And it's not worrying about the people who aren't going to buy that, right? Do you think the Mercedes dealership cares about people who only can afford a 10-year-old Chevy?
Nope.
They don't care about those people. They only care about people that they're in alignment in a best fit, right? So think about your business and the why here about your doing stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Frank says, how many memes did you see about Chick-fil-A being in charge of counting election votes? I saw none, because I have a hide all election app on my Facebook. So anything about the election is instantly hidden from me. So I don't have to look at it. But I think probably worth some, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're back to why is Chick-fil-A doing what they do? And, you know, if we want to compare companies on anything, why is Chick-fil-A run well and the post office run ridiculous? And they've always been ridiculous on there. It comes down to management. It comes down to what you do, and it comes down to processes.
Yeah,
and that's it. And
So Eric says, hi, Cora's here. Good morning, Cora.
Morning, Cora.
Cal agrees. Keith says, perceived value, don't underestimate that. Exactly. Absolutely. All right. So let's get to the next topic, which is, I think it's really important. I think this is something you wanted to talk about, which is people have money to spend right now. So why don't you tell your story real quick, Alan, and then we can have a discussion.
Yeah, I spoke to multiple clients this week, some in person, some on the phone. How you doing? And I had more than not people saying, I am busy. People are buying, and it's corporate stuff. We've talked about this, Marshall. What are you doing for January sales? What did you do leading up to December sales? And I had more than one client tell me, said, these companies have budgeted X number of dollars for apparel, promotional, whatever, and they need to spend it. Now, some of them are doing it right now, and some are going, can you invoice me and I pay for this now and we ship it in January? Absolutely. They are looking to do that. And if you haven't been out there looking for that business, you lost. And I thought
it's not too late. I'm going to throw that in. It's not too late.
Keep going. Yeah. Because look, you might not get it for Christmas, but what about people are already looking into January in 2021? And I know people are saying, I am jammed right now. I'm going to be making equipment purchases right after the first of the year. And I'm going, why are you waiting then? You better have your quotes there. You better have it in there, because the equipment manufacturers are jammed. They can't produce fast enough now. Excuse me. Same thing. And because people are starting to look at why. Mm-hmm. Why do I need to do that? What do I need to change? Let's go. I don't care about the election. I don't care about who's going to be president. I don't care about anything else going on. You are in charge of your own destiny. People have money to spend. There is clients out there. Go get them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so I think this is really about having a no excuses mentality. And I know for a lot of people in sales, speaking about listening to your inner voice, they say to themselves, oh, that person won't buy from me, or they're not ready, or they make up this story in their head and they don't do what they need to do. And I think one of the things right now is the fact that people just aren't buying. They're not buying right now.
True.
Right. And I have to wait until the pandemic's over. I got to wait till the vaccine's out. They're making all these excuses and stories instead of actually talking to people.
Agreed.
Right. And I think what we need more than anything is just to suck it up, call people up, Zoom them or send an email or send a video or do some things. And right now is teeing things up right now for January for Q1. Get that handled. And don't wait around. Take the action. More than anything, take that action right now. Don't sit on your butt.
Yeah, exactly. Two things. And we've said it before. When I hear people aren't buying, all I think of is, well, they're not buying from you.
Right.
And the second thing is when you're in sales and you're out there looking at new customers, new clients, you're going, he won't buy from me. Go find out. You know what the best word in sales is to hear? Is no. Because you know what no means? Fine. Don't waste your time. Move on. But at least you've went there and you kept it.
It could also mean no right now. Exactly. I'm not ready right now. Call me in April. Okay.
Well, ask them why. Why are they not buying? Because they're buying from someone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have their business, or is it no to you, but yes to someone else? And you need to figure that out why.
Right.
So, yeah, great opportunity. There is stuff happening. You listen to the news, you watch Facebook, and it's doom and gloom, and the world's coming to the end, and Chicken Little. No, you are responsible for your own destiny on there.
And I think the thing to also just really look at is the fact that for our industry, a lot of what we do is working with other small businesses, right? And so when we're looking at the big economy, if we're looking at the Dow Jones or the stock market or whatever, it's easy to get tricked into thinking that things are up, things are bad, things are sideways or whatever. The only small business stuff doesn't show up on those indexes.
Yep.
Right? Because they're owned by mom and pops. They're owned by, and by the way, a small business is under 250 employees. That's how it's categorized, right? I think that's almost all of our customers.
I agree.
Right. And so what I would really want to stress here is the fact that the only way you're going to know what's going on is by asking and talking to people.
Yep.
Right. So if you're reading the newspaper, you're reading the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, or whatever, you're watching one of the talking head shows on TV, they're talking about big picture stuff. They're not talking about your customers.
Yep.
The only way that you know what's going on with your customers is actually talking to your customers.
Yep.
And we need to do that more and find out how we can help them. What are they struggling with? And maybe it's not something you can help them with, but do you have somebody in your circle that could help them? Can you hand them off? Because if you do that and solve the problem, when they're ready to buy from you, they're going to remember how you helped them solve it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so people are out there. So I'd love to hear from everybody. What's going on out there? What's going on? And if you're saying things are slow, maybe it's time to look at a new market.
Right.
Start, because there are people. I had one client. He says, "I don't even want to tell anybody." He goes, "I had the best month of my career."
Right.
Last month.
So
printer in a small part of northern Michigan. He has a couple automatics, and he has been around for about 10 years. And he said, best month ever.
Yeah. So if you're watching right now and you're teeing up sales for January or closing out December, and I'm not talking about holiday stuff, right? We're talking about getting things built for 2021. Could you please share what's working or what you're doing, or this is the thing that I'm working on right now and it hasn't launched yet or whatever? Can you share that so everybody can kind of see? Because even though we're some of you guys are, I guess, competitors, you guys live in opposite sides of the country or whatever. And if we can learn what's working for somebody else, we can bring up the whole industry. That's what we're really trying to do here. So please write that and share.
I was in a contract printer yesterday in Michigan before I came to Ohio, and they said, we're screen printing some. Their embroidery is jammed.
Well, usually that's holiday stuff. Holiday and embroidery are always busy.
Corporate. All corporate. And they said a lot of it is paid now, and we're going to ship it in January.
Good. I love that. All right. So do you know how they closed that deal? How they did that? The nuts and bolts of that?
They have gotten on the phone and started just working it early on.
They're current customers, not new people, right?
Current customers and some people that they've went after because they do a lot of contract work. There's a big Coney Island place up here called Leo's Coney Island. They've done a lot of those restaurants, and they have just had to move into more corporate stuff. The restaurants in Michigan are shut down, and so that's been a little light. But they have found other ways for the clients, so they're doing well.
Yeah. So Cal says, and Cal, you're in California, right?
Yes.
Several shops have closed down in my area, and I've been busy since May 1st. And you're right. People have money to spend, and people are spending money for printing. Yep. Look at most of our suppliers. They're out of stock on hoodies and black shirts. It's crazy. Exactly. Where do you think all this stuff is going? They're not sending it to landfill. They're sending it to people to decorate. So,
right. Absolutely. Good post, Cal. Thank you.
All right. So while we're waiting on y'all's comments, please comment. Wink, wink.
Please.
Let's get to our last thing. We got about 10 minutes or so left in the show, which is kind of a segue here. Q1 infrastructure prep. Okay. And Alan and I were talking earlier before we started this today. And it's really about thinking about, are you making the changes that you need right now to set you up for success for next year? Right. So infrastructure is the how, it's the what, it's the where, it's what we're doing. It's really looking at our processes. It's thinking things through. And I've been on the phone with my coaching clients this week, and some of the things that we've been talking about have been really looking at the processes. And right now we're all on holiday, and then that, in a week or two, that's going to like drop off a little bit. And then we're going to have that little lull to January. And this is the perfect time to be really looking at how we're doing things, looking at our lead generation process, exactly who are the customers that we're going to target and how are we going to do that, or how we're going to reorganize our receiving department, or we're looking at doing some different things where we need to install maybe a filtration system for our screen room. And Alan, you were talking about that earlier, right? So how are we doing this stuff? What can we be doing right now to set us up for a better Q1? This is the work that we need to be planning. Who's going to do it? What are we doing? On what day? How long it's going to take? Is there training we need to do? I know that in shops that I've run, we always did our safety and social compliance and sustainability training at the end of the year and the beginning of the next, because we weren't as busy and we could take that hour or two to get everybody trained on this stuff. And that way we cross it off the list, right?
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on this, Alan?
Well, when we were talking about this subject, again, I always get all my information from what am I seeing from the people I talk to in the shops I'm in. And I sat down with my boss at a client Monday, and I've known these people for years. It was just good. We were testing something in there, and we ended up just going in the conference room. Ended up being 4 hours just talking in the conference room on there. None of us planned on it, but it was great discussion. And they were telling us, he said, fact of the matter is, for as tough as this year's been, we feel like we have worked twice as hard. He goes, we started looking at numbers, we're only down 3%. And most of their business is events and school sports. So it's been non-existent. And I go, that's good. Here's the problem. This stuff opens up now. They are not going to have the capacity. And we ended up talking for 4 hours of what should they be looking ahead to. And that's what prompted this for me. If you are the people that have been doing well and you're saying, I'm only down 10 to 15%, what if your normal stuff comes back? Are you going to have the capacity for that? Are you going to have the people? Do you have the infrastructure? Do you have the lead, everything going on? And do you need looking at that for the light at the end of the tunnel to be ready to move in that direction? And I think that's a good thing to ask why.
Yeah. And think about the type of orders that you're taking. So if you're right now, because we're just trying to get through this, taking on work that maybe shouldn't, right? When things come back, are you still going to be doing that stuff?
Yeah.
Right. And so I know from a production scheduling standpoint, we do a lot of work that, sometimes just doesn't make any sense. And that clogs up that schedule more than anything. Right. So just really start looking at the choices that you're making. What are your minimums? What type of ridiculous things are you agreeing to right now or whatever? Right. And should you have a different policy moving forward? Right.
Yeah. What about, on your production going, I can get 20 orders out, or I can take this one big order. Do you have someone in your back pocket that you've partnered with, a contract printer like a Greg Hitson at Mind's Eye, going, you know what, I can still do this, and I can have someone else be working for me.
Yeah.
We'll be doing this. So you got to be looking at all those, and it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Because I want to look positive at going, we are going to have a next normal. And what is that? Things will open up eventually.
Right. So Keith says, my online stores have increased more than my goals were and growing still. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. It hasn't made up for business normally this time of year, but it has been a change in our business. So thanks, Keith. Sam says, been happy to help several companies in the Midwest with processes lately, in person and over the phone or email. If you're a bit slower at the moment, it's the time to get it dialed in. Exactly.
Absolutely right, Sam. And that lull we're going to have in there, now is the time to tweak your processes. And don't call your rep or the people to help you right in the middle. Hey, can you come tomorrow? Set it up now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially for guys like you that do a circuit, right?
Exactly. And I can flex my schedule. But there are times, during that, it's like, okay, I'm off. I'm going to be with family that week. But if I know ahead of time where it's at, then let's go.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think it's a great time to, what's that new process? What do you need to tweak? And we talked about filtration systems that I've had more calls of people going, yeah, just, I don't want solids of emulsion and ink going down there. And there are simple little filtration systems, some for under $500 that I've been getting a lot of calls on. It's like all day long. Let's go.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Or a new dip tank or whatever.
A washout booth. They don't have to be monster huge improvements, but they have to be improvements.
Yeah. When you, here's the thing, get 1% better every day. When you tweak that little process over there, the payoff on that stacks. Once you do it,
yep,
it's better forever.
Well,
right? So if you make that better and you make this better and this other thing better and the other thing better and whatever, it's these little things that you're tweaking, right? A year from now or 2 years from now, you just scratch your head and wonder, how did we ever not do it that way?
Yeah.
Right. Look at how much better this is. And this is how you start dropping your operating costs. Here and here and here and here and here. And then slowly what happens is it's, 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents less per impression than you ever did it because you've changed 60 different things, right? It's a cumulative effect that pays off. And where does it pay off? It pays off in your profit.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's because you're moving faster, you're more efficient, you're operating at a lower cost, right? So you're getting everything through the pipe faster and at a cheaper cost, right? It's just amazing, right? But it only happens with an on-purpose, continuous improvement kind of mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And that needs to be whether in production, whether it be in sales, whether it be in marketing, whether it be in screen, whether it be embroidery. There's so many things and out there. And like I said, I'm seeing an uptick in embroidery, which is great. And I have people all the time. I don't know anything about embroidery. What I know, I learned from watching like guys like Eric Campbell and talking to them.
Yeah, right.
And by the way, or later today, the Take Up, you need to go there if you're anything into that. But when I see things of like 3D embroidery and high foam and stuff like that, very interesting. I didn't know there were different kinds of threads, different kinds of needles, different kinds of backing and stuff. And if having one, it is
There's different types of foam. There's different types of everything. It's just like screen printing, Alan. There's different types of all kinds of things.
So, and you know what? Sometimes these new improvements are not more expensive. So, like you mentioned, our dip tank. I have people ordering a dip tank, the new PT25, because it's better than their old one they have, and it costs less. It's $250, and it's space and room and everything. So, yeah, small 1% improvements.
Yep. Cool. So we're a little out of time here. So let's wrap up.
We got one more thing, Marshall, we need to bring up. So first of all, you and I were both nominated for Reggie Awards on Two Regular Guys. I didn't win. I don't think you did. But it's not about that. It is an honor. So those of you that put our names in there, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I appreciate for nominating me personally, but also Shirt Lab. So not sure who did that stuff, but thank you.
I don't know who did me. I think Eric nominated me. Eric Campbell did. He's watching. That's why I said that. But Eric was nominated too. And it is never about the awards. Thank you so much for this.
Right. Well, I like it because it's validation that you're doing things right. Right.
And Marshall, you have a plaque.
Hold on, I do have a plaque.
And we will do
so here it is, right here.
Mr. Marshall Atkinson, on Wednesday, we had a Zoom call with the Academy, the Academy of Screen and Digital Print Technologies, which is basically the Global Hall of Fame, and Marshall Atkinson was inducted in, along with Ray. So here's the Zoom call, the screenshot. And there are many people from all facets of the industry that you may know. Richard Greaves is in there. Lon Winters is in there. Scott Fresner, Mark Coudray. How I got in, I don't know. Incredible. And then, Charlie Tylerleaf. And then from other industries in the electronics industry, Ray Greenwood and the digital and everything like that. It is a huge honor for Greg Kitson is in there. It is a huge honor of a recognition for a life's work. And that's what it is. It's not because of one print or one section of time. It is for a life of involvement in giving back. So, Marshall, I am so honored to be in there with you. And congratulations.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody that's in this group. Some of these folks I've worked with before, or some of these, I know them or whatever, and some I've never met, and I can't wait to do that. So it's very humbling to be included in this group, and it's just a fantastic thing. And if you don't know what the Academy about, it's really these are the folks that I think are making a difference for what we do. And I'm now a part of that, and I can't stress how happy I am to be really acknowledged and included in the group. And it's frankly, it's amazing, right? So, I do a lot of things. I teach, I do stuff like Shirt Lab or write my blog or whatever. And sometimes you feel like nobody's listening, and this really shows that, guess what? People are. So
it is.
It's just a great thing. So thank you so much, everyone in the Academy, for including me. And I can't wait to move forward with some new stuff.
And, Greg Kitson, I saw posted on there. It's you're in there now. The work starts, because it's not about what you've done, but what you will do. And everybody in there keeps giving back, and that's what it needs to happen. I like Greg's post going, are you guys both younger than 50?
No, nobody's younger than 50.
Actually, I believe Tim Quinn from NASDAR, who is a consultant, might be younger than 50.
Right.
There have been guys. Mark Coudray was in his 30s when he was nominated.
Right.
And brought in. And it is a lifetime one. And it is incredible. I am extremely honored. And you saw the plaque he had. If you see me in my office, that's the big one in back. I will say we have done as an academy a very poor job of letting the industry know what it is. And hopefully between some of us, we can change that.
Right. And help other people. I think
it is.
You know,
it is not the good old boys club. It is not because of who you know, but because, and we've had a chance to talk to people going, look, this is not everybody comes out of the gate gangbusters. I didn't. And it is about an achievement of giving back into your life. It's not about, and we were talking, Marshall, earlier about the inadequacies we feel. And I will share this now. When I got in, I'm looking in there. I was nominated. I knew when I was nominated. I'm not going to say because he's listening who nominated me for it. And I always say I was honored to be nominated. I was shocked to get in to the point of tears on first ballot. And I remember I told two guys, Mr. Coudray and Joe Clark, and I said it to Richard also. I said, I kind of, you're trying to be humble. I said, I feel like if somebody has to be the worst player in the Baseball Hall of Fame, fine, that'll be me. And Joe Clark and Mark Coudray laid into me.
Right.
And here's where we have to think every day is he said, you were not in there because you were better or worse than anybody else. You were in there because of you. You were not nominated by the Academy and voted on by the Academy.
Right.
You were in there because of you, and you deserve it. And I got more congratulations from people that I respect, from Greg Kitson, from those guys and stuff like that, and just validate that. And Greg and I talked too about it too. He said when he got nominated, it's like, I don't win golden squeegees, but he gives back, and it's about you. And
right.
Work still continues. It's all about giving back, and we want to do a better job of letting people know what it is. It is a huge honor, probably the biggest accomplishment in my career.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And so it's a great way to wrap up today because we're a little over. So thanks for forcing me to put that up.
Well, I knew you wouldn't. Yeah.
But I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone in the industry, and let's all move forward and have a fantastic year next year. And I think this is really cool. So
great.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic weekend. And please let me know if I can help you with anything, because that's what I'm all about. So
that's what we do. And, there are people on here, I think, as a group and a community we have on there, we all keep in touch, and everybody is willing to help. None of us know everything.
I certainly don't.
I just want to know what guys like Richard Greaves and Greg Kitson have forgotten, and I'll be better off then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's what it is. I mean, I call people all the time and talk to people and try to learn, because I forget stuff too. So
yeah. Okay. Well, hey, have a fantastic weekend, and we will see everyone next week. Take care.
Have a great week.
Bye.